live in artbeads.com/live. I am so excited to be here with all of you, and I'm so honored to be a part of the amazing team here at Artbeads. I am sure you have already started to see the lives that have been happening, but just in case, be sure to tune in and see Sarah and Becky and Julie and me, and be sure to stay tuned because there are more designers on their way. We are all so excited to be here with you, sharing our passion, sharing techniques, tips, all sorts of things. So thank you for joining me. It is really wonderful to be here with you. And hi, Becky. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Hi, Julie. Thank you, ladies, so much. It's so wonderful to be here with you. Just a little bit of housekeeping to tend to just before we get started. I wanted to let you know that no matter where you're watching this, you can catch us live, but on artbeads.com/live, you can actually take advantage of some of the really slick features that are a part of this program. I have not seen anything like this before. It is amazing. You can shop directly from the live. So while we're talking and we're sharing things with you, you can see the products. And if you just click on that shopping bag, you can shop right from the list of products as we're talking and we're sharing things with you. So if you realize like, oh my gosh, I forgot I ran out of this, or I absolutely need to have this tool or this bead, you just click the button and it goes right into your shopping cart. It's amazing. I am really enamored with this tool and think it's it makes things so much easier for us because we inevitably want to have some of the things we see that we haven't seen before. So shopping cart, click, you can look at the products. I'll still be talking and you'll still be able to find me, but if for any reason we get disconnected, just head back over to artbeads.com/live and just join us again. Hi, Jill. Hi, Jackie. Yay, so nice to see you. Hi, everybody. Oh my goodness. I will keep track of the comments as best I can. It's a lot to manage, but it's so wonderful to be with you. I don't want to miss any of the. Oh, my mom's here. Mom, her name's Darielle. For anybody who sees Mom, her name is Darielle. Hi, Devin. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's such an honor to be here and part of your team. Thank you for having me. Hi, Mary. Really, thank you. How overwhelming it is to be here with all of you. And so you have all found the comments. Please, please, please comment. I can't say it enough how important it is to us not to just be able to communicate with each other, but really it brings us all together. It gives us a chance to chat. I would love to hear from you. I know all of the other designers would also really appreciate understanding what it is you want to know. Maybe what products you'd love for us to focus on, or what techniques you'd like to learn, or maybe you want some brush up on something that you haven't seen in a while. Whatever it is, if you can add that to the comments, we do keep track of them and do like to know what you want to know. Between all of us, there's so much information that one of us was likely able to share with you something that is on your mind. So be sure to comment. Thank you. And many of you have found the hearts. Thank you for that. I love the love. Oh my goodness. And I love the love for everybody. My heart's all to you. It is really such a pleasure to be here with you and really so exciting. Hi, Mary. So that is some of the information on what is along the bottom there for you. But also, if you know people would like to know about this happening, please share us on social. The more people who we can bring into the community, the more amazing this experience is for everybody, not just for me and not just for Artbeads. We really do want to have this be a true community experience for everybody. So please share it with your friends. If you know there's people out there who've been wanting to learn something, wanting to work with some of the products that we're featuring, feel free, pass it along, share the love. As I mentioned, there's a lot of other ladies doing the lives. There may be even some gentlemen joining us. There's so much talent and already lives available. So if you haven't seen them, be sure to check out the library that's building. And be sure to, stay tuned for all that's going to be added. I'll be here Today is Wednesday. I'll be here the next 2 Wednesdays at 1 o'clock Eastern time. And then I'm going to switch over to Mondays. My plan is to fill the Monday. It's just a great way for me to kick off the week. And I hope it'll also work for you to be a part of that. And that, I think, is everything that we needed to do before we get into talking about what we're talking about. And I am so excited to be sharing with you all of these amazing products that I have been able to get my hands on, all available at artbeads.com. Of course, we are working with check glass beads. I don't know about you, but I just love check glass beads. I have to be careful which one I pick up that I haven't already cut the strand. So these are just so beautiful. I love the colors. I think they work perfectly with the components that we're working with today. And we're also going to be working with Prestige Crystal because that sparkle is amazing. And part of the inspiration behind this design is to bring some light, not only to jewelry that we're wearing, but also to our homes. And I started playing around with some of the beads and some of the components. And I made this really long dangle, which would be a little too much. Maybe some of you are brave enough to wear earrings like this, but I'm going to put these on my knobs in the kitchen after I put away all my holiday decorations. I'm like, I just still need a little sparkle. I need a little light. I'm a summer girl, and winter to me is so dark and dreary. So I'm going to be scattering these around the house. I also thought these would be a nice hostess gift. So while you're heading out for holidays, New Year's, Christmas, whatever it is you're celebrating, add this to the top of a bottle or whatever gift you're bringing to somebody, maybe a set of napkins. And this is just a nice little extra, and it doesn't take any time to make, but it really is so beautiful. And it's something that they'll have for a really long time. And then they'll think of you every time they see it. So how amazing is that? So let's get to it. We will talk about all of these products as we go. I will catch the winter sunshine. Yeah, there's never enough sunshine around here. I know I'm not in the Pacific Northwest, but I think we're like second in the country for gray days. I'm not about it. I'm a summer girl. Okay, I'm going to just shift things around so the camera can catch all of the table in the way that it should. So a little closer to me, and then I'm going to just turn us down, turn us down. And then I'm just going to lower the camera so I can still see and so you can see better. There. Cloudy in Hawaii. That doesn't sound fair, Jill. I'm sorry. That's too bad. It doesn't seem like that's how it should be. And I'll bring the light down. There we go. There. So, as I mentioned, we've got these beautiful dangles, home decor. You can add them around the house. You can make smaller versions for jewelry. This is a silver version with some prestige and some check mixed together. This is all those check beads that I mentioned. Oh my gosh, so pretty. And a nun design moon, perfect for the season. Although we're at a half moon last night, which was stunning. I love the different phases of the moon. So I'm just going to move those out of the way. And then also, here's a quick earring. So same components, just prestige crystal on a simple head pin on an ear wire. So super quick and easy to make, but look how stunning that is. I just love it. Okay, let's get to it. I can talk about product all day. So we've got the nun design components. We'll incorporate some of those into the design. Let me just move some things out of the way. Look at this sweet dragonfly. Oh, love them. And then that washer. Now, I have to say, there is a very limited quantity of these washers available. I'm very sorry I picked something that was so popular that there's not that many left. So if you're interested in this washer, what I love about it is that it's a thin enough metal that you can punch a hole in it with the hole punch, which I have right here. But it's also sturdy enough. So I'm just going to like pick the center because I'm going to be stringing from the center. I just want to punch the hole. So you can punch the hole, but then it's still sturdy enough that it, can be used in any design. So for this design, I'm going to punch 2 holes, and I try to line it up so that I can have them both be centered so things hang straight. You know what? I think even if it's a little off center, it would be fine. But if you're very particular about things being centered, feel free to get a ruler out and use a marker. You can use a Sharpie marker or some sort of tool to help mark where you want it to be, or you can just wing it like I just did. But what I wanted to mention is, in addition to the silver color, there are copper washers available. There you go. So again, the weight of those works. This is the 1.8 millimeter hole punch, which I found that hole to be a good size. If you have the need, you could also use the smaller hole punch size, but I thought the 1.8 was a really appropriate size for this design. And we're going to use Fireline. So I like Fireline. This is crystal. There's obviously other colors. You can use the smoke or the crystal. Back in the day, there used to only be crystal. There was, we all were coloring it with permanent markers so that we could have all the colors of Fireline that we wanted to match our beadwork. And then somebody somewhere got wind of it, and now you can get Fireline in other colors. But crystal for me is still my go-to. And if you need to, you can use a marker to color it. So I just cut a random length, nothing crazy. Maybe it's 1.5 feet long, but you could go a little longer. This is 8 pound, but I do believe, based on this design, you could use 6 pound, but I like 8 pound just kind of as a general rule. And since this is, going to be used with crystals, I want to make sure that it's strong enough that it can handle, the holes of the beads sometimes have sharp edges. The 8 pound for me is my preference. So super simple. If we're going to replicate this guy, which why don't we? Super simple. Oh my gosh. So this is funny. As I was working on this design, just to kind of come up with something clever, I was remembering how one of the first projects I had published, which I have to laugh, was the lark's head knot. So if you're not familiar, the lark's head knot, all you do is you fold the cord in half, you have the opening, and then you feed the two ends through. And that's the lark's head knot. And I remember showing that to Merle White, who was at the time the editor-in-chief of Lapidary Journal, and she's like, Tammy, that's a project. And I'm like, Merle, it's a knot. So we made it into a project. And so what I did was I got a large rose quartz donut, gorgeous stone, by the way, and some really heavy duty cording. I think I got it at the fabric store because it was like, oh wait, we need to do this by tomorrow. So I ran down to the fabric store, picked up some cording, and I photographed how to do a lark's head knot, and it was published in Lapidary Journal. So there you go. But it is a fairly simple knot. It is so versatile, so simple to make. And there you go. So then sometimes working with the two ends and stringing over the beads can be a little tricky, but if you just go as carefully as you can. I like to go I always say one leg first and then the second. It makes it a little easier than trying to get both in there at the same time. And then just snug it up, even up the cords again, and then just string away. There is, in my designs, typically there is no rhyme or reason to the pattern. But I will say, once you start to get too much texture, because these are faceted, they are very sparkly, you do sometimes want to figure out a pattern that, even though it might seem random, there is some repetitive to it. And that's just kind of a design choice. There doesn't have to be anything overly symmetrical about it, but I do think that in good design, there is some pattern, especially when your eye is so distracted by all the beauty of the products. So by putting together some standard repeats, it brings some cohesiveness to the design so that your eye isn't totally totally lost on what to focus on. Okay, so I'm not going to string all of the beads for you because you guys get the idea, I'm sure. Okay, so again, these are the Prestige crystals. So they are just so amazing. I've got clear and AB because, again, I think that having both is nice, but you could just use all clear. You could use AB. You could do whatever you want. Now, if you want, because this is a pendant, I mean, isn't that gorgeous? This is the 15 millimeter pendant. Oh my gosh, sorry, I get lost in the beauty of this. For a while, I'm going to just deviate a little, tell you a story. For a while, I had been making earrings out of this. I would take a pinch bail and put it on the top of this pendant, put it on an ear wire, and I had the quickest pair of earrings you could imagine, and I couldn't keep them in stock. They were just so popular, and they're just beautiful. Like they pick up the color of whatever you're wearing so that they match anything you're wearing. So you can't go wrong. So what I'm doing here is just stringing one cord one way and one cord the other way just to get that pendant so that it is secured to the design. And then I will feed the cord back up and then knot it. Super simple. What you could do, move them down? Absolutely. Thanks, Kim. Anything sparkly. I know, Caroline, isn't that so true? And it could be a bookmark. Absolutely, Shelley. It could be anything you want, which is really so fun about this design. Like it can be as long as you want it to be. It can incorporate whatever beads you want it to. And I just thought that this combination was just really special. So then I would feed this up. In fact, let me show you that. Let me feed. It's a little bit tricky to get back up there. This is what I'll do. I will maneuver it. So it says one thing about using crystal. It is a little hard to see on camera. I hope you guys can see it okay. Because sometimes when I'll do TV, I would use a darker color just so that it's easier to see. But I did use the crystal today. Sorry about that. So what I will do is get the second one through there. Can you tell I'm thinking? I'm not talking while I'm trying to get that in there. Okay. All right. So this is one of the key pieces that I wanted to share with you. One, it gets all of the beads into alignment. It gets the pendant so that it's hanging in the right spot so you can kind of finesse that. And then what you can do is place a knot. So similar to what we will say when we're making like a pearl necklace is if you place a knot between each of the pearls, if it were to break, you only lose one pearl. And there is really brilliant logic in that. And I think here, because this is using crystals, we are dealing with thread against the crystal, there will be movement. And at some point, it really could wear away the thread. So placing a knot could help. So I know I came in, I have my cords going out in this direction. So now I'm going to flip it over carefully so that I don't undo my placement. And then I will do a knot between the two. And I usually do a surgeon's knot, but in this case, we're really just securing the bead. So you don't have to do a surgeon's knot, but for the sake of demonstration, I will do that. So over twice, pull it down tight, and then over once. And then just make sure you get the knot right on top of that other bead, between the beads, over that other knot I meant. And then that's that. And then you can trim it. Another option, you could take more crystals and go around the outside. I mean, there's so many ways to make this over the top. There's not really any limit. Oh, thank you, Robin. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Beads, Baubles, and Jewels. It's such a special program. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with me. Okay, so the other piece of what I think is special about this design here is taking advantage of the holes. I always say, if you've got an opening, use it to your advantage and add something more. You can never have too much. Always think about adding more. So really all I do here is find the bead that you want to put in the middle. It could be anything you want. It could be the round bead. It could be a check bead. It could be anything you want, anything that fits. I think in this case, the check beads might be a little too big to then still have the wire work. But here you can even use, let's see. We can have a little 4 millimeter. Let's see how that works. And then another 4 millimeter. And then see how that fits. Might be a little too long, but let's try it. So from here, I will get out some pliers. And I'm just going to bend. Oh, and you know what I need is, let me just reach behind. What I love is, sorry, I'm just grabbing a plier from behind. These are, I think they're listed as memory wire pliers so that you can make different size loops on the end of memory wire, but they're good for anything. Like, you don't have to just use them with memory wire. And for me, because I do a lot of wire work, I love to have these around because you have, already you have two different options on the size of the loop you can make. And then there's a second pair that has two other sizes. So you can't go wrong with having these around. Okay, so I'm going to, and what I also love, I'm going to say growing up, over time, tools have become more available, and I learned on using just standard round nose pliers, but as many of you know, it's hard to find the same exact spot every time, and sometimes it's hard to control the shape based on the diminishing size of the barrel on a standard round nose pliers, which is why I also really like these. Like, no matter what, especially if you're in production making jewelry, you will always get the same size loop, and it will stay the same size no matter where on the barrel you have it. So you call them nubbers. Okay, that's an interesting term, Robin. All right, and I think that loop will be big enough. Oh, that's so beautiful. Okay, and I have to tell you, these are my absolute favorite cutters. And long and short of it is, when these were first added to Beadalon, I remember I was at the magazine and we were just down the street from Beadalon at the time. And they came in and they're like, you have to try these pliers. And I believe they're from Italy. And I'm like, oh, or these cutters. And I'm like, okay, like, all right. And I was like, oh, I understand now why you're so excited. And I have to tell you, I have had these, I mean, I was at the magazine, I left there in 2004. So they've been around for a very, very long time. Oh yeah, made in Italy. max cut 2mm copper wire. So all the information you need is right on the handle. They have held up. I will be very honest. I have another pair where I definitely used the wrong metal with these. So just do as I say, not as I do, and be very careful with how you cut them or what you cut with them. So again, you're going to just make sure that when you cut the wire, you use the flush side against the side that you want to keep, and the pinch side will be on the end that you cut away. But before I do that, I'm going to open this up just in case I have to make any adjustments, and I'm going to feed it through my opening here just to make sure that my loop is big enough. Oh yeah, it's perfect. And that I leave enough so that I can close the loop so it doesn't pull away. Cut that. Make sure you hold that wire so you don't fling it across the room or at yourself. Close that down. And there we go. So super simple, but just adds another element of movement, texture. It takes advantage of that negative space with the opening of the washer, which if you don't want to fill it, you don't have to fill it. You could totally leave it open and make that a design choice, which I love. Okay, so any questions? Can you show again close up how to open the wire to add things? Yeah. So was it this, Debbie, this piece here that you wanted to see? Let me come a little closer. So when you're opening up the wire, when you want to add anything more or you want to add it to something, you want to open it away from you, not out to the side, and then same way to close. And the reason for that is it will then just help maintain the round shape that you created with the pliers. And the answer to the stringy material is Fireline. And I used 8-pound. I like 8-pound. It's what I keep on hand. 6-pound is great. It's just a little bit thinner. It would also work, but I like 8-pound. Especially when working with crystals, just because those sharp edges can, wear through, and the 8-pound gives you a little bit of extra protection. Okay, so Debbie, I hope that helped answer your question. But then I thought what we could do is also make this other pair of earrings. Actually, let me make a different pair. Let's see. I've got gold here. Let's do some gold color because it's the holidays. Let's have some gold. Take out a couple of head pins. Let's see. These are flat head pins. I prefer the ball end. These are flat. I think the ball is just a very nice way to finish the wire, but I do know the flat has its purpose, so that's not a bad thing. And let's see, make sure I can get. Oh yeah, nice. Let's see. So thank you all so much. I keep seeing the hearts coming up. Thank you to those of you who have shared the show with your friends. I really appreciate it. Oops. And thank you for everybody who is helping answer questions if I'm missing anything. All right, so I believe that's a 3mm on the end of that. And we'll get. So this is super simple. Let's see, what am I doing here? I am going to, this is like designing on the fly. This is really making jewelry together, which is so fun. I don't know about you guys, but I don't have the opportunity to really get out and make jewelry with my friends very often. So this is so nice to be able to be with you and make things along with you. Thank you for being here. All right. So here we're just going to, oh, you know what I want to show you? I'm going to show you the other benefit of this plier. So I've got the smaller size and I'm going to make a wrap loop. I'm going to push the wire away from me. And then I'm going to get the loop up here. Same loop. Bring it up around. And now I want to get in there. I'm really challenging myself, all these tight corners. And show you. Okay. So one of the things that I love to share is the benefit of the bent chained nose pliers. So when I am making a wrap loop, what the bent chain nose, it helps get my hand out of the way so I can get in here. This head pin's a little short now to really be very demonstrative, but I can get in here and really have room where if I was just using a pair of regular chain nose pliers, and for the sake of demonstration, I'll use flat, like my hand's in the way, everything's in the way, I can't move. So that is why I am never without a pair of bent chain nose pliers. It really just makes getting into these tight corners possible. It really helps get things helps get me out of my own way. Okay, so somebody said they liked the moon charm. Yes, I know. The texture on this is so beautiful. It's not overly done. It looks like, it's probably, I shouldn't say like, it's a hammered texture. It's so well made. The quality of these components is just so amazing. You can see how thick it is. So it'll hold up nice and sturdy, but it's not too heavy. It's not something that's going to, if you add this to a tassel design or even for the designs that we're working on today, it's not too heavy. It's not going to weigh it down, but yet it is still substantial enough that it feels so good. It feels so good to wear. It's smooth, but yet it has that beautiful texture. It's got a lustrous sheen. It's just beautiful. Same thing with the teardrop. And there I've got, it's, more flat on one side with a nice satin finish. And then this has got a nice curved surface. Also satin finish with a little bit of texture to it. Just beautiful. And this dragonfly. Oh my goodness. I just love them. Okay. So anyway, let's see. What else can we do? I am going to, let me show you how I made these earrings. Because here I also made the wrap loop. We can go through that again. So this is the ball tip head pin. And let me scoot some of these over because I want to show you also sometimes when you're working with smaller beads or if you have any sort of dexterity issues, just being able to kind of like if you are a seed beater, you can just kind of work your beads onto your needle without having to stress too much. You can just use the tip almost as if it is a needle. And then I know for me, this part of my body is tired. It's no longer happy. It doesn't like how much I've abused it over the years with all the twisting and turning and typing and All right, and so what I really love about this star, which I didn't, sometimes it's funny when the things are so reflective, it's hard to actually see how they're going to hang, and it's really meant to be, across the top this way. But what I loved was when I put it on for this head pin, it puts it on an angle. So it's very, I don't know, it's different. It's unexpected. And it's got a nice swing to it. Something that's not on the list. Sorry, I forgot to add those. But most of us have some sort of clear seed bead. These are Toho 11s. A little bit of metallic finish to them. And what I'm using them for is to whimsical. That's a perfect word. I'm putting the beads so that they fill up the opening of that stringing hole on the star, just to give it a little bit of stability on the head pin, because the hole on the star is a little bit larger than the diameter of this head pin. So I just filled it up with seed beads. And then we'll top it off with also with the bicones. I feel they nestle into the corner of the star so beautifully. It's like it's meant to be. You can put any bead you want there, but I think the bicones really help set off the bead without taking away from the shape of the star. And it just kind of gets in there again and gives it a little bit of that stability to make it hang really well. All right, so let's finish that off. So here I will use the standard pair of flat nose pliers. If you have any trouble with a wrapped loop, I'm going to share with you my story about wrap loops. I sat myself down and I made 100 pair of earrings, and all they were head pin, Swarovski cube, prestige cube, and a bead on top. And then I made a wrap loop, and I made 100 pair. And by the time I finished, my wrap loops were perfect. And from then on, I really have, you get into that groove. So I know pretty much where on my round nose pliers I want to place above the last bead. And what this is determining is the amount of distance for your coil when you're doing your wraps. And that may or may not be important to you, but I know when I'm wanting these to be a matching pair, I'd like to have the same coils and the same finish on both earrings so that they are symmetrical. So here I will then rotate my pliers up. I didn't move them, so it's still the same location on the barrel. Bring the wire up and over, turn them. And then here, this also becomes an important factor. I bring the wire behind. And there I have my loop. And it's behind. The tail is behind the post. And that's important based on how you then wrap, again, so that you can make these symmetrical. So I will, like we said, I've got my bent chain nose pliers. I grab the tip. You can use a flat. I just happen to have the round handy. You can use flat or whatever is convenient for you here. And then I'm holding very firmly in my non-dominant hand. I've got a really good grip on the top of the loop that we just made. And I'm going to pull. I don't want to pull so hard I'd deform my design. Oops. There. Depth perception. And I'm going to pull. And I'm going to wrap. And I'm going to pull. I'm pulling really hard, like almost like you couldn't believe the amount of pressure that I'm pulling. And all I'm trying to do with this amount of strength is just stabilize everything, keep everything really neat. and keep those coils so they're nice and tight together. But then the other thing you have to be careful of while you're doing all of that, well, one, it looks like I misshaped my loop a little bit. When you're getting this close to the crystals or your bead, you want to be very careful, because you could start to wrap into that crystal or bead that you have here, and you will compromise it. It may not break completely, but you will compromise it, and then you don't do that. So just be mindful of how many wraps you're doing, how close you are to the top bead. You want it to be resting up against that bead, but you do want to make sure that it is not so close that you break the bead. Okay. All right. And I will do a little snug right there. I'll come in with my cutters. Tuck that little end in. Based on the dimension of this earring, you really won't have this tip brush against your skin, but always, 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 when you're making jewelry, tuck in those ends, because it is meant to be worn, and it's better to have your ends tucked in than to have your ends poking the person who'd be wearing it. Okay. And the other thing that I know might be counter to what people think is you really can come in and reshape this. Just because it may have gotten a little out of whack doesn't mean that you can't just make it pretty again. Just kind of reform that opening. All right. Well, and if you tune into my lives on a regular basis, this is something I do all the time, and I'm more than happy to repeat it every single time, because like I said, I made 100 of these because I couldn't do it. And now that I can do it, I'm happy to help other people be able to do it too, because there's nothing like a professionally made wrap, something that is nice and neat, and something that you can then have a pair of that matches. I will add that I think it is in fashion to also not have things be symmetrical, not to have things match, not to have things be identical. But I don't know, when you're selling your work and you want it to be perfect for the person who's going to be buying it from you, or for the wearer who's receiving your gift, there's nothing like it to me. So thanks for indulging me. And then the other thing I love about this, as compared to like if you just did a simple loop, all of these pieces, like you have now created a closed unit. You didn't need to solder it, but you now have a very what's the right word? It has great integrity. There's nothing that's going to come off. It's not going to fall apart. It can't be pulled open. So you have really given this piece the greatest success possible to live on forever and ever and ever. So you can now use that on the bottom of an ear wire. These are fairly common. I think, they are so perfect. They are what's the right word? Oh my gosh, I'm losing my words. They are, I want to say feminine. They have such a beautiful, that's it, elegant. They're elegant, they're simple, they're understated, but to me, they make such a great finish to a design, and it really lets the design shine. And then these, I think, are just kind of fun and a little funky. I think with the star being a little off center, not being a straight drill, I think this ear wire for me is really a perfect addition to this design. But really, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong in whichever ear wire that you choose. I say have lots of ear wires on hand always, because you never know when you're going to want to put a quick design together. I literally have had to, on the fly, make a pair of earrings for one of my son's girlfriends, or, for a gift. And if you have ear wires on hand and you have some beads and a couple of head pins, you can make a pair of earrings in like 15 minutes and be done. Throw it in a gift box and you're the hero. So just something to think about. Okay, so just to recap, we have gone through some fun extra home decor, gift items that you can add to something that you're giving away to as a hostess gift, something that you are going to add to your own home decor. You can take this same design and make a pair of really long shoulder duster earrings. So many options with just these few components. And then we have a great pair of earrings and some other earring ideas for you to go with. We didn't use too many tools, just a few of my favorites. And then obviously the hole punch, which I think is great for the washer. What else? I think that's everything. We've got the beads. So I'm going to just turn the camera back around so we can close out today. It has been such a pleasure being with you. I appreciate all of your comments. I love being here with you, making jewelry with you. This was so fun. I just love being here with everybody. I appreciate all the hearts, all the comments. Honestly, you've made my day. You've made my day. I'm going to keep making jewelry. I hope that you will all join me and definitely make some of these for your holiday parties or for New Year's. If you do, please tag me on social. You guys can find me, tag me. We will be featuring pictures of things that you make from these lives in the future lives. Next week, we are definitely doing more sparkle. So definitely tune in next week. More sparkle. Definitely. Join the lives from all of my other teammates. We are so excited to be here with all of you on a regular basis. We have somewhat predictable schedules. But be sure to check out the website, add us to your calendar so that you don't miss us live. Thank you all so much. And yes, happy holidays. Whatever it is you're celebrating, I wish you all the best. Please be safe, be kind, love each other, take care of each other. Happy New Year. Join me again. I'll be here Wednesday, 1:00 Eastern. But meanwhile, take good care. Thank you so much. Yes, happy holidays. Oh my goodness, you guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of the warm wishes. My heart to you and your family. Thank you very much. Take good care.